Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of February 11th through the 17th. Is that correct? Yeah, I think it is. Today is Saturday, February 17th. So this week was another stressful one. I don't foresee that it's going to get much better anytime soon. Right now I'm kind of looking to the middle of April before things start calming down for me. So yeah, it's not been very relaxing, I guess. But I have finished a couple of things, so I can talk to you about those reads this week. So a much different look as far as a comparison to last week, because I didn't finish anything last week. But I've got a couple of finished reads to share with you this week. I'll let you know what I'm currently reading. I have a finished knitting object again. I'm on a roll with that. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to talk to you about this week. So let's get into it. So I have finished 3 things this week. So the first of those things, I'm going to actually have to put my hand in a certain place to kind of edit the cover. But I read volume 2 of The Titan's Bride. This one is by ITKZ, published by 7 Seas, rated mature. So he's very bare under my arm, or under my hand. For the most part, you know, the stuff that shouldn't be shown is covered, but like his whole like torso to leg is very open down the side here. So I have to edit it out a little bit for videos and the picture that I put up on Instagram. So this is a story about our human character, who's this guy whose name's Koichi. Yeah, Koichi. And at the beginning of this story, he's just going about his daily life. He's getting ready to graduate from high school. He's on the basketball club, basketball team. So he's like talking to his friends about, you know, what colleges they're going to go to and things like that. And then he gets transported into this other world where there are these titans. And that's this guy here. So it turns out that our titan, his name is Krys, he is a prince. And his prophecy or something like that is that he can't marry anyone from his world. So he ends up like doing the spell, and Koichi ends up coming to the world to be his bride. And so that's supposed to like fix all the calamity that would happen if he married somebody from their realm. And so this story kind of follows their relationship, how they get to know each other, and some things that happen as they're doing that. This is a rated mature series. There is a lot of sex scenes in this series. So much so that I don't think I'm going to be continuing with this series. There is not enough story for me. I need to have story if there's going to be like a sexual relationship. I can't just be reading sex all the time. Like, I don't want to read that. I don't want to read that. And for me, especially with this volume, it was more sex than story. I know there's an audience for that. That audience is not me. There is something that happened at the end of this volume, like the very like last 2 or 3 pages, that kind of leaves you on a mysterious kind of cliffhanger. I will admit that I'm a little bit curious as to what's going to happen with the information that was asked for at the end of this volume. But I think I'm just going to like watch reviews or something from some of my friends, because I think there are a couple of them that will read this series, or if not have read this series, that I can probably glean that information from their reviews, or I could look for spoilery reviews on Goodreads. I'm not interested in all of the other content that this series has provided me with within its first 2 volumes. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be continuing with this series. So that's that one. I ended up giving it a 3-star because the story is good. I quite enjoy watching Krys and Koichi get to know each other outside of the bedroom. Or I should say outside of the other physical stuff, because stuff happens outside of the bedroom too. But I do enjoy their little chats and things. And, you know, there is an insta-love in this as well, with the way the storyline goes. I don't quite enjoy that either. But yeah, there are other creatures in this world. There's a band of foxes, I think, or wolves. Is it foxes or wolves? There are other types of supernatural types of creatures as well. So yeah, just not for me. And that's okay. That's okay. I followed that up with, I should mention that I read this for low hopes for the Phase Out Your TBR readathon that's being hosted by Krys's Corner. I kind of felt like after Volume 1, I wasn't going to continue, but I thought I'd give Volume 2 a try anyway, just in case things turned around, because you never know. Volume 1s, you know, can be hit or miss. So, low hopes. This is not what I had originally planned to read for that prompt, but I wasn't feeling like the series that I planned to read for that prompt. So, this one it was, and it's good because I just made a decision on it, and so that's great. And so, yeah, that was for my Phase Out Your TBR readathon. And I'm pretty sure this is the last prompt I need to finish for my TBR, or for my Phase Out Your TBR prompts, so that I can continue to the next phase. And that was for Pretty Cover. And so I decided on Villains Are Destined to Die by SUOL, an original story by Gwon Gyeoeul. This is Volume 3, published by Issei Press, rated teen. So this is a story about a female character here. And she, at the beginning of the series, is really, really enjoying this otome game. And then she gets transported into it as the villainess. And so with her knowledge of what happens in this game, she's trying to, you know, get her reputation up with the characters so that she can possibly get back to reality. And so it's been very interesting watching her make her decisions, watching her decide what she's going to do based on her knowledge of playing the game, and watching her decide how to play the game, because there are different game modes for the game. And so she talks about, you know, like this particular route was only available in this mode and so forth. And, you know, we're getting introduced to all of the characters that she needs to increase her reputation with and whatnot. So she's picking and choosing who she thinks is going to be the most helpful to get her to where she needs to be to get out of the game. And so I've been really enjoying the series. This particular character, because she's so hated in this world, has been really mistreated. And so in coming into this character, she's kind of changing everybody's minds about the character. And things are definitely happening. Again, this volume left off on a cliffhanger. Something like very interesting is happening at the very end of this volume, and so I really want to get to volume 4. I'm not sure if I will do that this month, because I definitely have some other things that I want to read, but I really enjoyed the series. I'm definitely continuing with this one, so I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Now keep in mind that I have not rated these through CallPile yet. I mentioned to you that I am kind of having an issue with how I'm rating things on CallPile, and I think it's giving me too much to decide on. And with that, I'm not getting the rating that I believe these reads should get. And so I'm really kind of trying to decide whether or not I'm going to continue using the CallPile rating system, or just giving my gut reaction rating and then making CallPile match that. I'm not sure. But I finished Villains Are Destined to Die just yesterday, and Titan's Bride was a little bit earlier this week, but I've been very busy with work and very tired, so I haven't run that through CallPile yet. But yeah, those are my gut ratings for this. If it changes, you'll see that on Goodreads maybe say in the next week or so, definitely by the end of the month. But I put my gut reaction ratings to these volumes on Goodreads and Storygraph, so that's what you're seeing there, just so that you know. The other book that I just finished today, it's From Below by Darcy Coates. So I have been doing a chapter by chapter on this. I'm kind of reading it in conjunction with Allison on a Book Breaks Start and Stop Buddy Reads. She does this thing where she has her community pick a book and they read it throughout like a week and maybe a little bit depending on the size of the book. And the person who suggests the book gives suggested stopping points. So there's usually like 4, I think, stopping points from what I can see. I haven't actually participated with one of the Start and Stop Buddy Reads, but I have been watching back some of the like instructional videos and seeing how this works for her. I knew that I didn't want to participate with that because I cannot stand stopping in the middle of a paragraph or before the end of a chapter and then having to give my thoughts. So I've been wanting to bring back the chapter by chapters on my channel. Chapter by chapters are something that I had started doing in the very last year that I was hosting the Book One Cozies Club. And basically it's just a spoilery audio only vlog. I have made a couple of the ones from Book One Cozies Club into podcasts as well, because they are audio only, so it works well for podcasts. I haven't converted all of them, but they are available as videos on my channel in separate playlists for each book. So if you're interested in listening to my thoughts as I read a book through, they're spoilery thoughts. You can do it that way and like buddy read with me and stop at the end of whatever chapter. I do usually break up the books into chapter sections. So like with this one, I did 8 chapters per section, and then the last section, there were 6 chapters because there are only 62 chapters in this book. But that works much better for me. And I thought this is a perfect opportunity to jump in and bring that back because I have been wanting to read this book. This was on one of my TBRs last year, and I was able to still participate kind of in the buddy read because other people are reading this book right now, but do it my own way, the way that I had started doing it, and a way that works better for me. And so I have completed my chapter by chapters. I recorded the last episode this morning, so hopefully I'll be able to get that up on the channel soon. There will be daily episodes, again, audio only, spoilery, so if you haven't read the book, I definitely suggest that you not listen to those until you've read the chapters that are listed in each episode. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to give you my thoughts on this without spoilers here in case you are interested in this book and would like to hear my general thoughts but don't want to be spoiled. So this story follows a team who have been hired to film a documentary on this ship called the SS Arcadia. And I think it was about almost 100 years ago. The SS Arcadia got so off course, and nobody knows why it got off course, but it got off course and it ended up sinking. And nobody knows like where it sank. All they know is that they lost contact with the Arcadia, and it wasn't until recently that the wreckage had been found. And so this company has hired this team to go out to the wreck site, film the site to try to figure out why it sank and, get some footage for the documentary that they want to produce. And so we're following a bunch of divers, ROV, like handler, and things like that as they explore what happened to this wreckage. But something mysterious caused the SS Arcadia to sink. And as our team explores the wreck, they slowly become aware of what that is. And I think that's probably the best non-spoilery summary that I can give you. So I kind of took a lot of issues with several of the things that happened in this book. And again, I'm going to try to be very non-spoilery. This book is very slow to start. Very slow to start. This is marketed as horror fiction. I do have an ARC copy, so there's a little bit of information back here that's on an advanced reader's edition. And it does say horror fiction on the back. I would not consider this horror fiction. I mean, there's definitely some suspenseful things. On a whole, I don't feel like this book is horror fiction. I feel like it's definitely more mysterious, more suspenseful. But there's not enough horror elements in this book for me to consider this a horror story, if that makes sense to you. Now, I do read a lot of horror. I read a lot of mystery. I read a lot of suspense and thrillers. So for me, something like this felt very mild. This is not a story that kept me up at night. I slept fine after reading some of the things that I think other people might consider horror. But no way did this book keep me up at night. I didn't feel scared. I read it like a normal mystery. So for me, this wasn't as good as I think it might be for someone who probably reads more contemporary stuff, doesn't dive into mysteries at all, if very little, doesn't touch horror at all because they think it might be too scary for them. People like that, I think, would find this book to be horror. But for someone like me who reads a lot of it, and, you know, mystery is like my main genre, this did not hit that horror mark for me. So there were other things that I had issues with in regards to characters and the way they acted. This book is following the sinking of a ship called the SS Arcadia. Now, there was actually a ship in history called the SS Arcadia. This book takes place, at least the historical parts, because it is told in two separate timelines. We get the historical timeline of the Arcadia when it was still, sailing prior to its sinking. And then we also get the current timeline with our dive team and all of the experts and things like that doing the documentary. So the scenes with the SS Arcadia while it's still sailing, it takes place in like 1928. The SS Arcadia in real life wasn't actually built until the 1950s, from what I read, and never sank. So it's an actual ship. And I don't understand why the author decided to use the name of an actual ship that doesn't have the same history as the ship that is being portrayed in this story, when with everything that happens in this story, they could have just pulled any other name out of their head and made up a fictional ship. But they ended up using the name of a ship that was actually in existence several years after the events that take place in this story. So that really confused me. And I think because I watch a lot of Titanic documentaries, that it's not going to be something most people will pick up on. I remembered hearing about a ship called the SS Arcadia during one of those documentaries, which is why it struck me when I heard the ship's name in this book. And so I did go and look it up and found it. And so that kind of really stuck with me, that thought about why did the author pick a name of a ship that was in existence, that didn't have the history of sinking at all. It was actually retired. It didn't sink. Throughout the reading of this book, that is like the one thing from start to finish that I had on my mind. And so, yeah, that kind of bugged me a little bit. And I really wish I knew why the author decided to go with the name SS Arcadia. But it is what it is. It was still an entertaining read. I wouldn't say that I'd ever reread this, but this was my second Darcy Coates book, and it was still only what I would consider a 3-star. That's my gut rating on this, and that is what I gave it on Goodreads. I didn't find this as predictable as A Haunting of Blackwood. I'll put it down here. The other Darcy Coates book that I read. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to have this on my shelves. I will definitely reread it again type of material for me. And so I'm not sure what to do with Darcy Coates as an author. I am definitely interested in more of her other haunted house stories. But in the previous book that I read and this one, there were unlikable characters that got on my nerves. Like I said, the other book was predictable. This one wasn't, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. And so I really don't know what to do with the author's work going forward. Am I going to try another one before I decide that this author is not for me? Should I just leave it be? I don't know. If you've read other Darcy Coates works, definitely let me know what your thoughts are. If you have a favorite Darcy Coates work, let me know what that is as well, because I don't know which one to pick up next if I decide to explore this author's library more. So, yeah, a bit of a mediocre read. Like I said, I did do a chapter by chapter, so you will hear all of my thoughts and everything like that in those episodes. So it is spoilery. Listen with caution if you haven't read this book and are still interested in it. But these are my unspoilery thoughts here. And so, yeah, I'm hoping to get my chapter by chapter out soon. Definitely before the end of the month. So definitely keep an eye on my channel if you're interested in that. So that was my finished read for the week. So my audiobook, what I'm currently reading, I actually decided to make a change. So Mark of Athena was not working out for me. I was not retaining any of that story. In fact, it's so bad that I think I'm going to have to restart that book because I don't think I retained anything. I've got little scenes here and there that I remember, but I don't remember much. And so it's definitely not the time for me to be reading Mark of Athena. That, and I'm really not interested in that book at the moment. It's just not calling to me. It's not that I don't ever want to pick it up again. It's just not the right time for me to be reading it. And so I'm going to put this book on hiatus for right now. And instead, I have switched to episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. So I have actually had this audiobook on hold from the library since I think it was the end of September. I was hoping that it would come to me by October because it would have been the perfect read, or I think it would have been the perfect read at that time. But the hold list for this book is super long. So I finally got it released to me. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and listen to it because I don't want it to be returned to the library and me having to wait months again for it. So this book is about a ghost hunting team, very similar to Ghost Hunters. And they have a TV show called Fade to Black. And they are in the middle of getting ready to film their 13th episode. And so this team, has a bunch of people in it. They do the same stuff you'd see Ghost Hunters on the Ghost Hunters TV show. They do EVP work and, set up monitors and things like that. And then you have a couple. You have a husband and wife who are kind of leading the team, I would say. And they're very much like Ryan and Shane from Watcher. And their Ghost Files TV show, where the husband is very much like Ryan. He's a believer. And then you've got the wife who's very much like Shane, who's a skeptic. And so all of those things are things that really drew me to this book because I really enjoy the Ghost Hunters TV show. I really enjoy watching Ryan and Shane on Watcher and them doing their Ghost Files TV show, as well as the other shows that they produce for their channel. I enjoyed watching BuzzFeed Unsolved, which they were part of before they started their own channel. If you remember last year, I read BuzzFeed's Supernatural, a book by Ryan and Shane on their experiences exploring haunted areas. And so all of those things is kind of what drew me to this book. And so basically this team for their 13th episode is kind of having an issue with the television company that they're contracted with, that they're not getting enough like stuff to interest audiences to keep watching. So this is kind of like their decision making episode, whether or not the TV network is going to pick them up for another season or if this is going to be it for them. But for this last episode, they were given permission to explore Foundation House. And Foundation House is like the pinnacle of all ghost hunting teams' places to explore in this book. They will probably be the only team that is able to explore it now because the place was bought by a company and they are going to knock it down and build something else on the land. And so with all of the rumors and things of supernatural activity that had happened at this place, our Fade to Black team thinks that this is going to be the like turning point for them. This is going to cinch them that second season that they want, and you know, finally be able to get some evidence on tape of what goes on at this location. And so we're basically just following them doing their thing. And I will say that it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It has been keeping my interest. This is definitely something that I am able to remember. It's keeping my concentration. And so I'm not having the same issues that I had with Mark of Athena. And I'm really enjoying it. So far, it's really enjoyable. It's definitely a different experience. Like I said, I am listening on audio. And I think if you are going to read this book, you definitely want to have that audio available. Even if you are one of those people that like to read and listen at the same time, actually, that might be a really great experience for this book because it is told in diary entries. It is told in like taped conversations and things like that. There are a bunch of different ways the story is being told. And I think with some of the things that have been presented within the story already, there's definitely a point where the audiobook helps because there are certain things that should be listened to instead of just read and trying to figure out how that sounds or things like that. And so I'm really enjoying episode 13 at the moment. There is a bit of, strife between the team as well. Because like I said, you've got skeptics and you've got some people who don't agree with the way that the investigation is being held. And, you get perspectives from everybody on the team. And the audiobook is multi-narrator. So you get different voices for each member of the team as well. And so, yeah, I think I'm about 50% done with this book already. It's really interesting. It seems that this is going to be a really good one for me. And so I'm excited to get back into listening to more of that over the coming week. And so right now, that's the only thing that I have going. I do have one more book that I need to read for my TBR game, but it is the weekend before the manga club meeting. So as always, with the weekend before the manga club meeting, I have to read my Monochrome Manga Club selections so that I can go and talk about those selections with my members at the meeting. And so that's going to be what my focus is going to be on these next few days. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all that I am reading at the moment. So I guess it's now time for a Yarnie update. So I have finished a pair of socks. So these are my Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba socks. The yarn is from Hawari Bazaar in the Demon Slayer colorway. This was a sock set that I bought from her Anime Yarn Club back in March 2022. And I finally finished my sock. So this sock that you see in front here was the sock that I had been working on. So this is the second sock. I will say that between the two socks, my gauge did change. And it has been like almost a year since I did this sock. So that is why. Note to self, don't let so much time pass by before you decide to finish a pair. But it doesn't look too bad. I mean, you can tell that this sock, I think, is much a looser gauge than this sock is. And I think that's because of my stress level at the moment. You know, I have been talking about the fact that I have been very busy at work. And so you can see that this sock is much tighter in the stitches than this one is. But, I mean, they're going to look the same on the foot. You can even tell in the toe that this toe, the stitches are very tight, whereas this toe is not as tight. But I did use the same pattern. This is my lightning toe pattern. But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be fine. This is a 2x2, I'm sorry, 1x1 rib, 45 stitch leg, which is what I like. It's like a mid-size sock. A slip stitch heel, square heel turn, and my lightning toe, which is like a rounded, kind of rounded toe. I really am very happy with these, but before I wear these, I think I definitely need to fix this sock, because as you can see, the edging, the cast on edge has frayed. And you know, I think I might have like noticed that when I had cast it on. I was looking back at one of my videos to find out when I had actually cast this one on, because I didn't log it into Ravelry, because there was a time where I just wasn't good with remembering to log stuff in on Ravelry, and I must have noticed it because I had seen myself look at the cast on edge. I don't know why, I just continued to knit on it, but here we are. Cast on edge is broken. So I need to fix this. And from what I understand, the only way that I can fix this is to cut the ribbing off and knit from here up, which inevitably is going to cause a different look, not only in the way that the fabric is because of the, you know, the way the yarn is dyed, but the cast on edge is going to be a cast off edge, and it's going to look different from this sock, but that's okay. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that before the Demon Slayer theatrical event that we're going to this week, because that is happening on Thursday, and I kind of want to like do a mending vlog for my knitting channel, because I have 3 pairs of socks that need mending, and so I figured I might as well make a vlog out of it. And so yeah, I think it's going to be okay to wear because it doesn't seem to be unraveling down, which is great. But yeah, I have a finished pair of socks. So very happy. My first pair of my Anime Yarn Club yarn to be knit up. And again, perfect timing because we're going to that theatrical event this week and I am super excited. In fact, my calendar for this year, I have it up on the wall right behind the camera. It's a Demon Slayer calendar. My mom got it for me for Christmas or my birthday or something like that. And so this colorway actually matches the scene that's on the month, which is Tanjiro. And I think she pulled these colors from the very first volume of the manga. So yeah, very happy with these. So let me just show you how much yarn I have left for my daughter's sock and the repair of the ribbing on the top of that sock. So this is what I've got left from the coordinating mini. And then this is what I have left from the main skein. So this is a more light fingering. I would consider light fingering. It's very thin. But I think that's probably why I'm having an issue with the like splitting. I have noticed a couple of times when I was knitting that the yarn split. And so yeah, this is the first time I worked with the Hawari Bazaar yarn. But I'm very happy with how it looks and the feel of it is nice. And so yeah, I'm really excited to work on some of the other yarn clubs that I have from Hawari Bazaar because I don't know like if they're all going to stripe like this or if they're not. And the two socks are slightly different. if you can see. You can see here with the gusset that I've got this like bigger section of the watery colors. But on this sock, I have the bigger section of the darker, more purpley colors on the same side. So then if you flip it around, it's the opposite. So I've got the more watery colors on this side with the more purpley colors on this one. So when you wear them, you're going to have the more outer color or the more purpley colors on the outside. So that's interesting. But yeah, very happy with those. I think the next one that I want to cast on is my Haikyuu Club. Yeah, I think that's the next one I'm going to want to cast on for myself. Just because the next Haikyuu movie just came out with the dumpster battle. If you know, you know. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping Crunchyroll will get to license that. And so, yeah, maybe that will give me the kick in the butt that I need to complete, finally, my read-through of Haikyuu, because I still haven't finished that. I know that one of my manga club members had asked if we could read Haikyuu for the manga club as a series read. It is quite a long series, but it's one that I really enjoy, so I am considering it. But yeah, we're in talks right now for our next manga club series read, because we will be finishing Full Metal Alchemist this week. And so, yeah, I'm going to have some exciting conversations, not only in regards to our selections during the meeting, but picking our next series read. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. Let me know down in the comments below what you've been up to. I know I didn't say anything about the Rainbow Ring, and that's because I really haven't worked on it. I've been making decisions about what I'm going to do going forward with it. I think I finally decided what I'm going to do, so you will probably see some progress on that next week. But let me know down in the comments below what you've done this week. Let me know what you've read. How are you doing on your TBRs or any readathon that you're participating in this month? I would really love to know. Let me know if you're putting together a TBR for March Mystery Madness, because I'd love to know that as well. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me some kind of, I think there's a sword. Is there a sword? Sword emoji down in the comments below for the Demon Slayer socks. That would be greatly appreciated and will really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.